Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden. And today we are going to be doing another round of Coleus propagation, and I'm going to be installing a new set of grow lights underneath this table. Okay, so in late fall, beginning of winter, before we ended up getting freezes, lots of y'all have been telling me that I needed to take propagation. I needed to propagate my coleus, and I did so, and I had wonderful results. So much so that I am now outgrowing the space, and it's about time to go in and double all of this up. So basically a lot of it, it's gotten to this point where I've got two different points coming up, and now I can, instead of having just one plant, I can cut and propagate each of these and have two plants for each one. So we're going to be doing that today. I'm really excited about that, and really excited to just get it all cleaned up a little bit, because some of it has grown so tall that it was running into the grow lights. And then speaking of grow lights, I have a lot of plants that are getting too big for the shelves, and I have been overwintering some plants, and I need more space to spread those out. So I'm going to be installing a set of grow lights underneath this actual table, because I actually store quite a few plants underneath here. And so by having some additional lighting underneath there, I think I can kind of create a little bit more space for me to be starting and growing seeds and plants inside. Okay, regarding the coleus. So I started coleus two different ways. I started coleus propagation directly into soil, utilizing some containers, quart containers like this, and utilizing some of my Vigo containers like this. I did directly into soil, no rooting hormone, nothing like that. Everything did well. I found that the key was to make sure that it did not dry out at all. The soil could not dry out. And as long as I kept the soil nice and moist, it was absolutely fine, and everything did great. I also started quite a few in some containers with water, and they've also done really well. Since I've done this, I've gotten a lot of comments about anybody who did their coleus propagation through water like this had a really hard time shifting these plants back into soil. So what I think I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to be propagating all of these into smaller containers, and I'm going to be doing everything in soil, and today we're actually going to be utilizing a root hormone. Okay, so you're probably asking, Amanda, why are you using a root hormone that's different from you? I don't usually spend the extra money on things like that. I had a gift card, so I thought, what the heck, I'll give it a try. So I ended up picking up a Bonide rooting, it's called Bond Tone rooting powder. I paid $8 for it at Covington's, but I had a gift card for Covington's. So this is something that's kind of ideal for transplanting, propagation, things like that. Basically, you dip the end of the stem in here, and it creates a kind of chemical reaction, triggers the plant to begin growing roots. So I'm going to be starting with a basic potting soil. My favorite Burger BM7 potting soil that I get from Homegrown Plants in Farmersville. I've had a lot of people ask if there's other places they can get it. You can look up this particular variety of soil online. You can Google it, and it will show you other places that it is available. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be working with my Vigo containers, and I'm going to go ahead and just lightly go ahead and put some of the soil in. And I'm going to go ahead and fill up all of my current containers that I have right here, and then I'll be repurposing some of the ones that are currently being used. I'm actually trying to condense a little bit and get all of these, since we're going to go from these larger plants to smaller plants again because we're cutting everything back. I'm wanting to kind of reduce their space a little bit at this point in time. Now I am starting with a dry soil mix, because y'all know that's how I like to roll with my soil, and I find that it's easier to get the propagated stems into the soil when it's dry as opposed to wet. Okay, a couple of things. I've got some water. I've got my rooting hormone. Let me go ahead and open that up. It's just like a powder in there. I don't know if I should like pull it out. I don't know if I want to dip it directly into here. We'll see. So let's go ahead and pull out one of these and take a look. So I'm going to go ahead and give these a little bit of a gentle pull to go ahead and release some of the roots which have already grown out the bottom. And we'll go ahead and pull all of these plants out. The coleus has rooted really well. You can see all the roots coming out the bottom. And from each of these, I should be able to get multiple cuttings from each of these. I definitely thought when I propagated these that I would not have to propagate them again and I would not have to pot them up again. But then that's me, just a lack of knowledge of propagating coleus. It grows way fast, so I should have been a little bit better prepared for that. So one thing I can do is on a lot of these, I could just cut right here a couple of notches above a set of new leaves that's starting right here, and then replant this right here. But because I'm wanting to reduce the overall size and because these have already outgrown their little containers, I don't want to start with the rooted portion. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and cut the rooted portion off at this point in time. So let's do that with all of those. Now, if I were going to pot them up into another container, a bigger container, I could cut like right here. I could look for basically the joints or where two leaves will come out, these segments. You can see one segment, two segment, three. You can see all the separate segments, and you would cut above a couple of segments like that. And then you could replant this in a bigger container, but I'm not trying to use bigger containers right at this moment. Okay, so at this point, here you go, I've got my coleus, and I should be able to divide this into two stems. So I'm looking for these sets of leaves because everywhere there was a set of leaves, it will grow a new set of leaves or produce roots. So what I'm wanting to do is we'll take, I think we're going to start with, let's make this segment cut. So I'm going to pull the leaves off of here, just like that. And then I should be able to get at least two of these growth points below the soil line. And you want to have at least two if possible because that's going to encourage better growth. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dip it into water like that. I'm going to get a little bit of rooting hormone on it. I'm only covering one of the segments with the rooting hormone. And then I'm just going to make a little hole just like that, and I'm going to slip this down as far as I possibly can and then kind of tap it into place. We don't want a lot of excessive leaves on here because we don't want the plant supporting the leaves, but we do want some leaves so that it can continue to produce energy for itself. So there's one right there. So what we'll do with that same, where's that extra stem? Okay, here's the rest of that stem right here. I'm just going to cut down here. I'm going to leave one leaf on there so that it can use that for growth. Dip in a little bit of water, swirl it around in my rooting hormone, just like that. And I do typically have to make a hole. Push that down as far as I can and tap the soil around it, just like that. So I got two cuttings from one stem. So technically now I've gone from one plant to two plants. So let's go ahead and continue the process. Just like that. Okay, and there we go. We've got a set of 8, which is awesome. So for 4 cuttings, 4 original plants, now we've gone to 8 plants, which works great. So I'm going to go ahead and bust through the rest of these. Okay, before I go on to the next part, I did want to show you in these larger containers, I had 3 plants or 3 starts in each of them, and check out those root systems. So definitely think these were not going to be happy. I still have a good 6, maybe 8 weeks before I could actually plant them in my garden. And I definitely needed to do this and go about that process. So far I did all of the little Vigo trays and some of these bigger ones, and I've ended up with 64 plants. So definitely doubled what I did have. I put them in this water reservoir and I filled this up with water, and it is now soaking up water. Now I'm going on to the ones that are in water. So I did want to show you what that kind of looks like. Look at those. That's pretty cool, huh? So, but I've heard, I haven't heard anybody tell me that they did fine going from water into soil. So I don't want to continue with the water propagation this time. It was super fun to do. I will tell you that, absolutely super fun to do. But I don't want to spend all this time and effort on this and then these not do well when they get transplanted to soil. So I'm basically going to cut off the root systems and go ahead and put the cuttings in the root hormone and directly into soil. Now I am out of the Vigo trays because I'm using them in other places right now. So I am going to go ahead and switch to the Amazon trays, which I feel are a little bit shallow, but it is what it is. I wish they were just a touch deeper, but what are you going to do? I'm not going to go buy stuff just for this, but it is exciting to know how much money I am potentially saving. Very exciting. Now I did want to point out that one of the key things is reducing the amount of leaves that it's taking care of. You don't want a ton of leaves on there because that's a lot of work for that little bitty stem to do and take care of while it's also trying to produce roots. So you want to reduce it to maximum 2 leaves. If you maybe 2 big leaves and then the other leaves are super tiny, that would be okay too. Okay, so out of the 8 little bottles that I had water in, I ended up getting 20 cuttings from the 8 bottles. So definitely at least doubled. And then we've got 64 over here, so that's 84 plants. That would be amazing if these all came to fruition. So they definitely need to go into an area with lighting. I'm not going to do this at that exact moment because I do need to ship some things around. However, these 2 guys back here that had the, that I was using the smaller Amazon containers, I am going to go ahead and tuck them back into here because I've got room in this space, and I'm going to go ahead and add water. Okay, let's talk about grow lights or lights for seed starting. So I have a couple of different varieties of lights. I use some of these LED strips that are like they stick up in here, which work fine. Then I also have some like old school shop lights, which are really, really good. The most important thing is not that you buy a quote unquote grow light. It doesn't have to be branded like that. None of the lights that I use are branded as grow lights. The most important thing is to check and make sure they have at least 3,500 lumen, preferably a daylight setting as well. And I typically lean towards 5,000 lumens for my lights. So right here, I've got a set that is available on Amazon, and it is linked on my Amazon store if you're interested. And I could have definitely gone and gotten the ones that I had gotten in the past at Walmart, but because a lot of people were asking and they don't have access to a Walmart, I decided to work with this Amazon option as well. Now these are about 4 feet long, and they are plug-in strips. Okay, so it looks like it has everything that you need for installation. Basically what I'm wanting to do is to take these and to go underneath like that, underneath the table. I started with 2 to see how I like, but I very much think I'm going to be adding 2 more, which my budget cycles for February. I think having 4 under the length of this table is maybe like 7 feet long, I think would work really good. Now, this is an old table. I didn't want to do a lot of damage. I didn't want to take something like stick like this on there. And so basically when suspending these hang from chains right here, and they have a hook. So I'm just going to be installing one simple hook. So I need 2 hooks per set of lights, so only 4 holes to suspend all of these lights. I'm really excited to see how that goes. Let's go ahead and install them, and then from there I'll show you how that's going to look with all the plants underneath. I'm just going to be utilizing a drill bit, a electric drill, battery operated drill, and a drill bit to pre-drill the holes, and then I'll insert the screws. Okay, so this is where I've been storing my pepper plants and I'm overwintering. So I'm just going to slide these out. Hi. All right, so these are linkable, meaning they will plug into each other. At the end. So there's a plug-in right here. So you got the female end down here and the male end. So they'll plug into each other. I do want to make sure that I have one cord going off this back side because that's where my access to my electricity is going to be. All right, this looks pretty straightforward. Put a hole and screw in my hook that it came with. Now, the hooks are not going to be perfectly spaced end to end because I'm drilling into these braces that go all the way across the table. I don't want to drill into the that part that's the top of the table. So the lights will hang a little off center from the table, so they might stick out at one end, but that's totally fine. And I'm starting with 2. I am very sure that I'm going to order 2 more because I'm just so pleased with the size of these. The reviews are good, and I'm just really hoping it does really great for my plants. All right, so we've got that done. And at this point, we've got all of these hooked together. All right, we've got 2 parts. We've got like a Y shape. So this top part is what hooks up into here, just like that. And then these bottom parts, they hook right here on the end. All right, just like that. Let's come over here and do the same thing on this end part. Okay, so looks kind of crazy, but you can shorten the chain and raise it up if you want. But I think this is going to work out really well. So what I want to go ahead and do is I'm going to link up the next one. Plug it in just like that. Okay, so I'm going to put 1 screw here and 1 screw here. Plug it in. Y'all, it's so cool. Okay, so If I add the other two lights, that's quite a bit of light under here. Just like that. And then now I can come in with something like my petunias, which are taking up a bunch of room. So let's bring those in. Okay, I think I'd like to raise the petunias up. Okay, it's not pretty, but I'm kind of obsessed with it. I think this is going to work for a really cheap way to be able to grow more plants. And I won't need these all year. These are just going to be during seed starting season, especially when the plants get taller. And you can see I'm just very simple hooks, which I think really works well to maintain the integrity of the piece right here. Now I do have my table on risers, and that's so that it's more standing height when I'm talking to you all. Check out these petunias. That's the lace veil. This right here is the Triumph. I need to get in here. I just literally cut these back a week ago. All right, I think this project is a success, and I'm going to add 2 more. Okay, definitely a fun project, inexpensive way to start grow lights. I've got those linked in my Amazon storefront. My Amazon storefront is located in the description of all the videos that I create. And so you can go check it out. You don't have to buy the product. You don't have to buy the product through there. You can go buy it somewhere else. If you do want to buy it through there, it does give me like 25 cents every time y'all buy something or something like that, but it's not much. It's more as a reference for anything else for you all. Remember, the lights, you're looking for daylight and you're looking for minimum 5,000 lumens if you're going to be utilizing like the LED shop lights, which works really well for me. I like it. So very excited, glad to get all of those Coleus cuttings potted up, doubled the amount of plants I have, and it's going to be really fun watching them grow on the next 8 weeks as they prepare to start going outside in about 8 weeks. I can't believe we're that close to beginning to plant outside, which is just insane to me. But yeah, this is a fun project today. Y'all tell me what you think. I know it looks a little rickety underneath the table. I think if I really end up liking them, I might try to set them up further into the table so you don't see them hanging down. But at this point in time, I don't want to do anything that's super permanent until I've decided if I really enjoy it, really like it there, and if it really works for my space. So I will definitely keep y'all updated as that goes along, and I'll keep you updated on how the Coleus propagation is going with the root stimulator hormone. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this little hodgepodge of projects today. Just wanted to get both of those done and going. Several of y'all had asked about the lights, so I'm really glad that I got that started. As always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Remember, every time you like, every time you comment, even if it's just with a sweet little emoji, it really helps grow my channel. And be sure to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.